to the world. Subscribe now to the Hot 97 YouTube channel. It's Ebro in the Morning with Laura Stiles and Rosenberg.
Back on the program. Ebro in the Morning, Laura Stiles, Rosenberg. Give it up for our friend 50 Cent back on the program. 50. What up, sir? How you doing?
I'm back, baby. I'm back.
Let's go. Listen, let's celebrate, man. Sire Spirits. Talk to us about this NBA deals, and is this your drinks are exclusive at these Sacramento Kings, Houston Rockets?
Yeah, Sacramento Kings, Houston Rockets, the Texans, and the Astros. So all of Houston.
Oh wow.
And, a few other places I can't talk about until they announce it, but they, I've been doing some different things. Like because G Unity is a foundation, the stuff I've been doing in Houston. Like, I've been doing it for a long time, but they can see it because, like, when I was doing it in New York, I would always make donations to other existing organizations because running a foundation is like running a business that you can't directly see the returns on like that.
That's right.
So I'd rather hire other people. I just take mines and make donations to other companies and let them do the actual footwork. When I see other non-for-profits functioning and they're actually making a difference, those are the people that I support, their company. You know what I'm saying?
I'd also, too, I'm glad you're bringing this up. Many years ago, 50 was giving a lot of money to New York City parks and doing a lot of work around the city. And he would always ask us to not mention his name because he didn't want people to hate on it. He'd be like, nah, they're going to hate on me. They're going to try to make it seem like it's for the wrong reasons. Just, don't tell them. But I'm glad you're pushing this in the forefront now. Yeah,
because, in the beginning, I look at it and I go, they think it's everything's a tax write-off. I think it's for those purposes. And there's an advantage of being in Houston versus New York City. They think the IRS thinks they're your partner in New York. You see what I'm saying? Like, they think they want half the money. Like that. You're like, yeah, all right. But you could do Miami, you could do Vegas, you could do a lot of different places. And, Houston, I kind of like Houston. Like, when I got there.
Texas tax situation is much different than New York State. Florida tax situation is much different than California and New York State. So it's easy.
But Houston is also a kind of slept on city, too. Houston does have a lot.
It got a lot there. Like, and the way, like, when you think Texas in general, it's a lot. You could have chose Dallas. You could have chose Austin. All the Silicon Valley's in Austin.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
They have moved out there.
Yeah, like that. It's not, like LA is probably the worst spot. That's why Hollywood is getting ready to get out of there.
And talk about that, Fifth, because we're going to get into the programs that you have the hip hop crimes on WeTV. You have, hip hop homicides. You have the BMF documentary coming this Sunday at midnight on Stars. Surviving El Chapo. Which is a podcast starting on iHeartRadio starting tomorrow. So you have a lot, but specifically to that comment you made about Hollywood, what are you seeing in the change of movies and television that people should pay attention to on the business side?
Well, I'm watching a lot of the different territories. If they provide the tax incentives that you see happening in Atlanta, it'll open up right now because nobody feels like they have to. Let's say we've all been conditioned to adjust from the pandemic, so we don't necessarily have to be in that office or work environment that we did the work in before. So, like, I would just go somewhere else and film the project. It don't necessarily got to be in the spot where I was at prior to that. Like, and I think the rest of the business has adjusted in that way also, because like they away from Atlanta, like you got people out in Budapest doing movies and stuff like that. I just shot the Expendables out there with Stallone and Jason Statham and Dolph Lundgren and Randy Couture. But those projects, they'll go outside of the United States to do the project because financially it's better for the film. Like, then you can put that on the screen in the effects, and the film feels like a way bigger action piece.
Well, and I think it's important for the audience to understand too, the tax incentives come because you guys are providing jobs for the local community.
Right. There's so many jobs connected to it. Like, they don't think about it. I mean, every single person, like even craft services to the scaffolding,
hotels, to the everything. You know what I mean? The malls, everything.
There's thousands of jobs connected to it. Like, if the incentive was passed in Houston, because it's not in Houston right now. So I would 10 seconds flat, you see studios all over the place. Because I already got the land for it. I'm just waiting for it.
For the voting thing. They got to vote on it and do all the policy changes and all that. Well, now are you paying attention to what they're doing right here in Yonkers? They have a sound stage. I think Lionsgate has a sound stage, and then they're building another one in Jersey, right?
Yeah, and this is for productions that they have in house. Eventually, like Lionsgate, it was Stars was connected to that, but they're not a studio. Like all of the projects that they're Lionsgate films that are going through Stars. So this where it creates confusion when they try to do a spinoff now.
And your relationship was with both?
Right, because when I did the overall deal, like Lionsgate was, because the studio, as a producer, you're gonna work with the studio to create the actual projects, but it was just going on Stars. So my deal was through Stars to Lionsgate, and then now that I don't have to present projects to them first, like, because you want to make whoever you have an overall deal with, you make their what they're trying to build for that network, you make that a priority because you have a higher probability of selling it to them anyway than going out to everyone else with your random idea. But when you know exactly when you can tell me what you're looking for, Ebro, when I build something that meets that criteria, I know that you'll accept that right away. But Stars, when Jeff Hirsch came into being the CEO of Stars, he readjusted what their overall, what they were looking for overall for the project. So he wanted premium women to be their mandate. And then when that happens, like Power itself is not premium women. Outlander is not premium women. So you're saying the thing that is successful for you at the moment, you don't want that. You want premium women. This is when you're
talking about audience. Fifth, you're talking audience.
It's demographic.
Right. Okay.
No, but this is what the mandate was. Like he's saying, that if this is the mandate overall, then you said the project that you bring has to speak to premium women. It has to be something that they would actually want to watch. And then going, Ebro, technically action projects like action films and stuff like that, that will fall under something that a male skews more male. Mm-hmm. And when you delivered it, even if it was top notch, a high quality project, they would look and go, I'm not sure if this works for us because we're looking for premium women content. And it's like your lady may pay the bill. She may say, oh no, put this, when you get ready to watch the fight, she may use her identification or her numbers to pay for the $89 for the fight to come on. But it's not really her driving why she paid for it. She's getting it for you.
It was for the dudes in the house. She just used her credit card.
But because they see her all the time within the data, they'll go after that.
And women over-report and that stuff. Women actually report, whereas men are not nearly as good at actually doing it.
We don't communicate. We're not giving you our info. We don't trust you like that. My lady got a bank account for you to get all the info, not me.
Yeah, it's easier. I'm less exposed at the moment.
Exactly. I'm less exposed. Oh my gosh. But 50, I'm really excited about the Surviving El Chapo
it's a big
podcast. Because we've heard so many stories, and every time we continue to learn more and more. It's such a complex story. So tell me how this is going to be different. Tell me about the interviews. What's happening?
I'll tell you a story you didn't hear, right? I actually came in contact with the twins in 2004.
But for the audience, explain who the twins are.
Yeah, both Jay and Peter Flores. Well, I came in contact with them in 2004. This is like at the peak point of the performances of Get Rich or Die Trying. And I'm on a tour running around, and Buck and them ended up in Chicago. So one of the dudes in his entourage decided they want to go out and party, bro. So he goes to Cabrini Green Projects.
Nah, bro.
In Chicago, he goes to Cabrini Green Projects and goes to a party that they have in the projects, and knocks on the door and shows them the G-Unit spinner piece, like, yo, what's up, G-Unit? Let me in. They let him in, they let him out, no peace.
Of course, no peace.
Yeah, so he gets robbed. When they get back, one of the dudes who's with him got shot in the hand, right? And then when he gets
whose idea was this to show up to the projects?
It was a bad idea, man, but it was one of the cast. And I was like, listen, when I heard what did happen, I was like, what would make you do that though? Like, and like the police don't even go to Cabrini Green projects if it's not a serious thing. Like somebody's laid out if they come. You know what I'm saying? So it was way worse. That area specifically was the worst area for you to be in Chicago at that point, period. So when that happened, the piece, now I'm gonna hit people didn't know, but when I had the G on the piece originally, if you looked at it, and you see me wearing it, Ebro, it was $300,000 I spent on the piece. All right. Because it was the biggest piece of jewelry that I bought at that point. When I took it off my neck, I didn't want to pay the insurance for it. So I had a dummy piece made. So the piece that they actually caught was the punk piece. Like that was the one with Mousenites in the joint.
Yeah.
Right? This when you seen it moving around. Like,
cubic zirconiums.
Yeah. That shit, I had that done because I wasn't going to pay the insurance to when it's not in my possession. I had to pay more for the insurance for it. So I just put it in to save the real piece, and they was wearing the other joint. Then, because they took it, the dudes that robbed them took it to Jay from Flores. He immediately, when he realized that the main diamonds, they took it to him because he would be the guy that could pay for that much for it. You know what I'm saying? At the time, they moved over 130 tons of cocaine and heroin in Chicago. You know what I'm saying? So if you look, like $2 billion worth of drugs they sold over there. And I'm going, when they go to them with the piece, he looks, he said, nah, it's not right, but he gave him a little something, and then he gave the piece back. So he saw it as an opportunity to make a relationship, and they gave the piece back. And then they sent it to, was it Gabi? Gabi was working at RCA at the time with Steve Rifkin and them. And then
shout out to Gabi.
They got it back to us. And then from there, though, it's the first time that I came in contact with them. You know what I'm saying? So from there,
well, and for the audience, the twins were the connect in the United States, basically.
Yeah.
In Chicago.
Yeah. And then pretty much it was like the hub for distribution for all, because Chicago's like in the middle of America, so it could go all different directions from there. Like you might pay 17 for a kilo in Chicago, and it drive it up the block, and it's worth 23 in New York City, easy. And because
so Rosenberg, when y'all are y'all, I mean the audience and us, when we're watching Ozark, right, and you're looking at them doing business in Chicago and the cartel coming through Chicago, all of that is tied back to real life movements of El Chapo, the twins, like all of that we've seen in these. And because so many different things have come out where it's tied through Chicago, or it's talking about a cartel, or it's talking, a lot of that is Chapo, was El Chapo. Yeah. That's why this was such a big deal.
Chicago is really the middle of the U.S. Right there. You can go different directions from there, so that's where they would be grounded. And, it'll be different from first the podcast, then the docuseries. So, it's a visual, but it's not in all the way in scripted form, because you tell a story different that way. And then you'll see the scripted show. It's like the Narcos, but it's the Mexican, English speaking story. So you don't feel like you're watching a foreign film the whole time. You know what I'm saying? Because they from out here. They from, this side, so they speak English, no problem.
So now the hip hop, what is it?
Homicides.
Hip hop homicides.
Yeah.
Talk to us about how hard was it for you to film this and get the information, because you're dealing with unsolved murders and people who either don't want to talk or have been, or been dodging the camera for a long time.
Yeah. You know what happens? Like when people are disappointed, when it really sets in that they're not gonna have the success that they would have if things went the right way, right? Like think about like Pop Smoke, what happens in Brooklyn if that works,
right?
If everything would have been heightened like out there, it would have came that even Fabio Foreign would be a bigger artist right now.
Mm-hmm. Right.
The momentum of that will pull it. And then if you said when that happens, they go, ain't nobody really like to talk about it, or to really to even to say what exactly were you feeling, or how you process it? Like, how did you go through like that? And it's ill because even like the way things are now, like online stuff, like they're different when we lose talent in hip hop because they see it. They see you lose the person. Like they saw Nipsey Hussle die on camera. You know what I mean? And that's why the intensity of it was times 10, because you got to get the kids in middle America that aren't subjected to the same things that the kids in the inner cities are subjected to. They see the choices. So they go, yo, like it's the wildest thing ever because they see them live like they have nothing to live for. And kind of completely walk on the wild side when they got this conservative, like you have to get a ride from your family to get to the mall to find trouble on the weekend because there's nothing outside the house.
Ain't no trouble outside.
Yeah, it's nothing but a deer out there. And then when you're in the cities, all of the influences, positive and negatives, they're there in different ways. So if you had it, the vulnerability of some of these kids when they're out there, they do some extreme things. You know what I'm saying? So they get a chance to see it. And this is where the fascination is coming from in drill music specifically. Like they're saying, look, Ebro Gangsta had financial motivation behind it. Not having in the environment, you look up and the guy that was involved in hustling in that street lifestyle, he had what represented financial freedom. You see what I'm saying? So it was to live good, to everything else was a part of it. Now they're saying, you ain't like that. You ain't got no bodies. You ain't like that. And I'm going, whoa, like just shorty crazy.
Yeah. Like you got to have murder. Back in the day, you just had to be getting money. Now they want to see the murders. They want to see,
that. And you're going, those guys are never noted neither. Even when you think of the guys like in the past, when you point to world, you don't point to who was actually doing the hitting. When you point to frame, you're not talking about the shooter. You see what I'm saying? They only mentioned the person that was the influential person that had to communicate.
The face
of the group. But the actual shooters, they don't remember.
Well, and it's interesting now, often things are crazy. I'm not trying to gloss over anything being crazy with youth right now and gun violence. Not trying to gloss over that. But I always tell people, back in the 90s, cats was getting laid down just the same. Maybe even more. And there was no social media, so everybody there was a lot of people who rapped, man. You had never put out an album or been to a studio because you couldn't make a song on your laptop. Now I made a song on my laptop, threw it up on YouTube. I'm an instant rapper, and then I'm in some shit in the street, and it comes out that another rapper was laid down. That's been going on since I've been in this game 30 years, but nobody knew the cat from around the way.
I've been saying this too, like the way the violence has always been in those communities. You know what I'm saying? It's just now the visibility of it is there, and it connects to hip hop culture because, look, we're the fastest growing genre of music. You can't miss us. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that they give M's birthday was yesterday. I don't think he give him the credit that he deserves apart culturally because what happens is, Ebro, when Stouter say the tanning of America, I read his book, and it's ill, but you got to look, in order for people to embrace something, they have to see where they fit in to it, right? Who would be upset when a white guy comes and is selling the most records in hip hop culture? He's still, to this day, the highest selling rap artist, right? And maybe NWA is with attitudes would be upset with the idea of the white guy coming and selling all of the records. So Jimmy's a genius for putting him with Dre. And then when you do that, when you got someone that's being bumped around in the environment, in the hood, and you can't really, you see the experience, you see things even more visible now. You see Irv in his conversation. The more he talks, the more he helps. It's just no good. It's just no good at his communications. Like when he said, every time he says something, it's a strike against him. It's bad for him. And he said that he was consistently blocking me. He blocked me into a
No, stay focused, Fifth. Stay focused. Go back to the go. Don't. You was about to turn in on Irv. Listen.
He said consistently blocking me. And then what I did was I wait because I didn't fall for those situations that they would have influence over, Ebro. So Dino DeValle, when they offered me $1.3 million for me to sign to Universal and I could do the G-Unit records there, and I didn't do it. And Tony and them didn't understand why I wasn't taking the money. And then Clue and them, I met with them. I met with anybody who had the ability to do the deal, I would meet with them. So they could leave and say, yo, what you think about such and such? Yo, we can ready to do something with them, maybe. Just to say that.
You was playing but you knew the marketing game because you had already been signed to Sony once, so you already knew the industry hustle of getting everybody talking, the bidding wars, and then you ended up going with M.
Yeah, and then I don't do the deal until M's a safe spot to do it. He has no idea what is going on. He just hears the music.
Right.
And this is why I didn't say anything about Ja until he said something about Haley, and then I got the green light, and I wrote Automatic Gunfire. 2 days we recorded that whole CD because I was dying to do it. I didn't even go to sleep. We was in there like, what? Crazy? I'm a service. Like, we had a good time doing it. So at the end of the day, look, with M, even look at my numbers. Do not discredit the fact that I have Eminem. He's selling 23 million records on the Marshall Mathers LP. When I come with Get Rich or Die Trying, being completely prepared for it, and after being bumped around, so I'm seasoned. I'm just ready to go. So as soon as they haven't had, from that first CD, they signed me, bro, and my advance between those months and the release of that CD was the only time that I was not in the green. I sold 13 million records the first album, 10 million records the second album, 7 million records after. You see what I'm saying? So they just look and go, 35 million if you look at all of the G-Unit projects in between.
Yo, is there a statute? Is there an IRS statute of limitations where we could talk about the mixtape money, or we can't talk about that?
I never even only one that they would. No, it's not. So we can talk about it.
Wait, before we do that, when G-Unit used to drop them tapes, the way them duffel bags used to show up with cash from the street.
Oh yeah. Oh, look, the first one was Guess Who's Back.
Yeah.
Guess Who's Back. We did with Bob Perry. I told him when they come, I don't know you. I said, yo, when Jimmy come, I don't know you, because he kept selling too many of them. Ebro, he would still be selling the tapes if he would have listened.
Absolutely would.
They bankrupted. He wanted, because he didn't have anything that would make the actual, like he saw the CD performance.
Well, he wasn't legitimate enough to protect himself. He couldn't really fight it, so they just dragged him through court, took all Bob Perry's money, but
all of it.
Yo, Fifth, you mentioned yesterday was Eminem's 50th. What do you think, reflecting on him on his 50th birthday, what do you think Eminem's legacy will be, and how often are you guys talking these days?
I think a part of Eminem's legacy is the growth of our culture. People wouldn't buy it if they didn't see where they fit into it. You see what I'm saying? When he comes and he's there and he's a legitimate artist because of his journey. Like, you know what I'm saying? When you look at 8 Mile, you're seeing a black story with a white lead. Right? You see him poverty, you see him under circumstances where look at his friends, Proof, D12, everybody's there, and these are real hip hop guys, man. This is why he's a real hip hop guy. And then when that cuts through, it everywhere. I'm in overseas now in Prague. Out here, I can't find, if I find somebody that look faintly close to me, a little bit like me, bro, he's a full African person. He'll tell you from Nigeria.
Right, he's from Nigeria, straight up.
Like that. Ain't gonna be no from America where, like, so it's a different thing. And then when you go around the world with it, it's so many people, because he's not at Hot 97. There's no Summer Jam. It's at Jingle Bell.
Right.
C100 the whole time. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Like it's Nicki when her skin matches the Barbie.
Wait a minute.
The version of Nicki early on when she's got the pop records all the way, and now my Nicki's back.
The brown one from Jamaica, Queens.
That's right. I like it. Now she got to defend herself.
Well, by the way, she reminded me of you this week. I thought about you with the whole Nicki Latto thing. I was like, yo, man, is there something in the water in Queens 50 that makes you guys? Because do you see the similarities I'm talking about?
She's like, she's been in the environment. She's been bumped around too, bro. It's like, you look at it and say, it's a female version of it.
Well, yeah, because she had a tough way to go on the come up, man. She had to do this herself, and she remembers a lot of people didn't embrace her early on. And 50 has that same thing where once it ain't no love, it ain't no love. It ain't even no getting back, right?
Because you look at it and you go, the first time that you have this issue, if I don't understand what your motivation was, why should I think I can fix it? Some people have this thing that, like, if from across the street, if the person looks at them and they feel like, oh, you think you're like this, or like they just have this perception of you, they can say, oh, she thinks she's cute. She comes in here with her hair like this. And you're like, what? I just did my hair like that. I'm not even thinking like that. But if that's their perception of you, I go, let that be their perception over there. And as long as it don't come close enough to me to make me uncomfortable, I'm fine with it. You know what I mean? But
and then you add another layer, which is if you're feeling froggy, jump. And then if they look at you funny, then you might egg them on to see if they really want smoke. And then
I want to see. Yeah, you want to see because you look and go. If you're not paying attention, bro, it may happen without you seeing it.
Right. So you put it on. You make sure the spotlight is on it so that you can pay attention to it.
I go, look, Joe. Me and Fat Joe's issues was his loyalty. Right. He can be loyal to a default. When you go after the time goes by and you look at it, you go, wait, what was the problem? There was no problem. He was just being loyal to them because they made music together. Mm-hmm. And then later, in different stages in your career, you can see things and go, that's really ain't about nothing. So what you continue to pursue that for? And it's not, when we had was it Chris Lighty passing, it was the point that everything came together with that. And I'm like, yo, he's probably a more valuable friend than the people that were friends before that because he's conscious of me. You see what I'm saying? He won't allow us to go back into that space, because you know what I'm saying? Like he goes, nah, I ain't doing that. Like, chill. Or to quote him, let him know I'm like this. Like, I'm gonna say this because I'm cool. I'm cool with them from here. You know what I'm saying? But so he's just a little more. The explanations that things that look, I would expect Nas to just give me a call on certain things, right? I don't get the call, but he's just he's an artist. He's such an artist that you get it. Some of the stuff that he do is you don't really get an answer for it. It's just him being creative. He's not doing the things the business or the street people would do. You know what I'm saying? And then there's like when he do the Supreme Team docuseries, I know that's about his fascination is with them being God body. You see what I'm saying? Like that part of it is what connects him to their experience. But this is what makes me, feel like I don't have to get him for even doing it. You see what I'm saying?
Because you trust the reason he did the Supreme Team doc had nothing to do with you.
Right.
It had everything to do with his perception of Queens and et cetera, et cetera.
And I love him. I love Nas.
Right.
He's really the one. He's really the one.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Like he is the guy that the lyrical, the one when we was figuring out how to do it. Ebro, we was doing shit we wasn't supposed to do while he was doing the music.
Right.
So by the time we figure out how to actually put it into the music correctly, is when my run is happening. You see what I'm saying?
And you was able to see it clearer. You're saying you was able to see it clearer because of Nas.
Yeah. Like even the rules that I gave them when we went out on tour. I said, look, if Bangum Smurf, all these different dudes around there, they're not listening to what I've just told you. I said, I'm not accepting any internal conflict. That comes from Nas. Nas had a show set up, Central Park. He was supposed to perform in Central Park, and he came with all the Queensbridge dudes, right? And he wasn't able to perform. All the excitement, everybody want to see it. And he wasn't able to perform because the Queensbridge dudes was fighting other dudes from Queensbridge. Mm. And I'm like, that don't work. It don't work like that. We gotta have some fight the people that are uncomfortable with the success we have. Don't fight each other. I don't want to go to wake because my man shot my man last night. You see what I'm saying? Like that. And you're going, we ain't even getting into it with nobody else. We're getting into it just because the uncomfortability of seeing somebody have something around, because not all of us is going to get the bag at the same time, bro. So you look at it, and when he's shining right now, let him do his thing. What's the matter? Ain't he from here? He's from us. So go with him and have a good time. Don't have no, you know what I mean, like that. Like Mobb Deep, they didn't even have issues with people. Issues, they got robbed at the Tunnel Wills Worm from Queensbridge. You see what I'm saying? The issues is internal issues.
Y'all was gonna say that's supposed to be their people.
Yeah, it affects them the way they look worldwide, but the issue is really with somebody from their neighborhood. It's from their circle.
Which is that crabs in a barrel. You know, somebody else is hot for the moment, so you want to embarrass them to make it look like you got power over the situation.
Went in, you ain't get me in. Wait till we come out. That energy, and I'm like, nah, that ain't even. I'm not even gonna allow that to come with us.
Fifth, we covered a lot right there. Are you sure you could see Rosenberg and Laura Styles on your camera?
I can see him.
Oh, okay.
Are you saying because he's repeatedly has called you Ebro and has not
Ebro,
said my name?
I was like, yo, does he know Rosenberg is here?
I've been interviewing this man for 20 years.
Yeah, I'm familiar with, and then Ebro, I'm talking because you're really the problem in this group.
Oh,
see,
is that what it is?
And you know what? I glossed over how you just recently admitted that in the last segment you said it was your fault. You and Fat Joe beefing, which led to New York hip hop losing its momentum at that time. You admitted it. I have audio.
See, look, that's not what I said, bro. You trying to spin everything now. Like that, me and Fat Joe having issues was based on his loyalty. He can be loyal to a default. And he caused that, right? At that point, because he was doing little things that I'm seeing him be slightly uncomfortable with the success I'm having. Right? And then when you look at really the only person that could have affected New York City music at that time period would have been the program director that plays the music at the radio station.
So now
it all comes around.
But you were the best songwriter and the best music maker in the city at the time.
All you gotta do is tell me who helped me.
People
All you have to do is tell me who helped me. You saying I could have helped them. Who helps me, bro?
We all helped you. Mr. C, Flex.
Oh, they all of these, yes. And you see me show nothing but respect to them for that, because they played the music and I needed that to reach the people. In that time period. Now, but when you say, when I'm saying to you specifically, is when you mention those artists, me not going to write songs with those artists or doing music with them that would benefit
nobody
them?
wanted to work together for fear of having problems at the time, which slowed down our ability as a city to grow the music scene.
There was a lot of people to work with. Look, okay, so why does everything in the city sound like it's from down south? Blame that on me too.
I mean, you kind of was. I mean, every now and then you did have a down south slang on a couple of records. You would do that.
I'll take that blame. I'll blame that on me too. What else do you want to give me? Give it to me.
I just wanted you to
admit
that it's all your fault.
He did turn around and sign Mobb Deep. He signed MOP. He signed Lloyd Banks.
Yo, Rosenberg, pick a side, bro. You work with me every day, bro. Pick a side.
I'm just presenting an argument.
Pick a side. No, Fifth, first of all, I want to reiterate for the audience, 50 Cent has a lot of content and a lot of shows coming out. I think it's important y'all tap in. Remember, we got a BMF documentary. October 3rd, October 23rd. That's this Saturday, or this Sunday at midnight. You can check that on Stars, 10 p.m. on Stars. Then you got Hip Hop Homicides. That's November 3rd on WeTV. And coming tomorrow, El Chapo, the twins who brought down a drug lord, hosted by executive producer 50 Cent. And that's tomorrow, and that's on the iHeartRadio app. That's a podcast. And is that all coming out in one drop, the whole podcast, or does that drop week after week?
Yeah, well, there's a drop. They can go ahead and bench it. and hear the whole thing at that point. But you guys do have to realize that there's some be some people that resent you guys, Rosenberg, because you're in the presence of this guy who ruined New York City hip hop.
Now, 50, I totally understand that. Now, I do have to ask you, though, in all seriousness.
Yo, Fif, I can't believe you're still trying to do this, man. I thought we buried this. I thought we had moved on. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't want to remind people of what you did to fragment our city musically. You know what I'm saying? But you still want to do this.
Guys, come on.
We buried it.
Yes.
You buried the whole New York City culture.
Now, Fif, I do have to ask you. You've worked with so many different people. You've made money in so many different ways in Hollywood, the record industry. I remember early on, Fifth, the first drop I ever got from you, you said, Jew unit. You have a relationship with Paul Rosenberg, with this person, that person. Yeah. When you watch the whole Kanye thing play out, what are your thoughts on sort of the monolith, the way he sort of has been describing Jews as this big agenda? Because I know you have relationships with all different kinds of Jewish people.
Yes, I do. I think he's in a dangerous area. You know what I mean? Like, not too many. I think, look, I'll forgive him for the things that he said because I already identified with something's going on that I don't understand that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's become his new mannerisms and his behaviors consistently with just doing things like even the White Lives Matter thing. There's nothing for me to say about it, though. I watch it take place and I just look and I go, okay, yeah, that's him doing what he does, like what Kanye would do. And a lot of it, even the original Trump support thing was a little out there for me. You know what I'm saying? But everybody looks at things, they navigate things differently, and one week is I don't want my kids raised by white women, and then the next week is I want to go home. So you don't know exactly what
right.
It means.
You're not wrong about that.
Yeah, crazy is unpredictable. Unpredictability is entertaining. You don't know what's gonna happen next, and he's offering a description of crazy. But when you start getting in certain areas, they're not gonna actually be compassionate for what's going on with him, or because he's not crazy where he doesn't know what he's saying. He knows exactly what he's saying.
Right.
Well, now, Fifth, it's interesting too because you will, and I think all of us, like I have this element of myself. I bug out, my team be like, "Yo, you bugging," and I'm sure you have that on your team too, where something will tee you off and you ready to burn everything down. Who want what? Like And I see Kanye in that space right now where he's angry about, like, he's mad at so many things that he's ready to go at everybody about everything, right? And what is it that you use to kind of recenter yourself? How do you, because you're known as somebody that'll pop off and go into teardown mode if you feel the need.
If what's motivating his behaviors is coming from business, like the Gap deal falling apart and then being angry with Adidas and different things, then it would be focusing to recreate those deals so I can do it the right way instead of venting and that, because those are the two big things that I see happening outside of, the other stuff that's right there. But that, other stuff is basic. It's just look at me stuff. If you can't, when you look at the albums, when you can't put out, his audience is not the hip hop consumer right now. They're past it and they do things differently. Like when I say to myself, where's my core audience? They're grown, Ebro. They're not going to buy the record. They're not going out to the nightclub every available moment. I said your core, let's say your core audience was in college having an adult experience at that time. This is when going out is the most exciting thing for them. They're making their own decisions and, they can get lucky. Everything could just happen, right? So if you look at that now, that those people are 43 years old now, right? So
yes, we are.
They're grown. They have that drink that they would have on premise in a nightclub in the privacies of their home. If they're successful, they have a wine cellar. They got a bar. They do it in the privacies of their home. They meet the person that they hang out with somewhere else, not in the nightlife, because the kids are partying there, right? So when you don't see when you see the artist release records and you don't see the number, that's by design. That's not by accident. A number wouldn't be something that you'd be excited about right now. Only person I've seen,
and you've consciously made that adjustment to releasing content for people that are specifically in your demo,
chilling at home, watching TV shows.
Right. This is when you put the song on the television show, they see it and hear it so often that they buy the song, and it still sell 1 million pieces of Big Rich Town.
Right.
There's still a way to do it. You know what I mean?
And are you saying that you feel like Kanye's struggling to figure out how to move that audience around a little bit, and that's causing some frustration too?
I don't think you can. You know how they say, want this thing forever, man? You can't have it forever. It's hip hop.
Right.
You can have a moment. You can have a run. But you can't have it forever. It's not possible.
You don't, Fifth, do you ever think about, do you ever have a thought of, I want to drop another monster classic album, or you've moved past that, you're happy with the time you had on top in the game?
If I give them an EP that they feel was a monster, then if I call it a soundtrack and I put 5 or 6 songs of my material inside it, and they love it, then I'll still have the same gratification. I'm on tour right now. I just did Prague last night. The O2 sold out. I do it again tonight. You see what I'm saying? Like I'm on a world tour right now, so it doesn't. What I need a new CD to do it.
You don't. You wouldn't even play any music from the new CD if you had one.
I 2 songs from the new CD.
Right. You add 1 song. That's it.
That's all it would fit. You know, this is we're starting to enter that stage where Prince was at, where he could say, "Yo, I'm gonna do a show tonight," and it sells out.
That's right.
You see what I'm saying? Like for hip hop culture, love music, remember, used to require buttons. R&B, you can't tell the difference between Chris Brown and the other R&B artists. Matter of fact, when we did Tycoon, the only thing was the problem was the R&B artist. They got an issue with what you think when you say you, the singer. They think you said the sucker.
Well, yeah, a lot of these R&B dudes, they got a chip on their shoulder. They be ready to fight if you think they can't.
Yeah, you think
they
be
ready.
Ready to go.
Yeah, ready to go. 50 Cent, man. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm honored to have him back on the program.
I'm really coming for Rosenberg and for noted if you two leave, I'm never going to see him again. I won't ever have to talk to him again.
Yo, make sure you check out that podcast, man. Surviving El Chapo drops tomorrow on iHeart. And then this weekend, we get that BMF documentary on Stars. And then after that, the Hip Hop Crime Series, too, man. We appreciate you, bro.
It's a pleasure, man. You know it always.
Yeah, keep working, man.
Thanks, Fifth.
Thanks, Fifth.
All right, man.